Pricing. How do you know that you are pricing your services or your products at the right amount? Services in particular is what I'm talking about here, because it can be very, very hard to to work out what you should be charging. And I'm bringing this to you today because I've had a bit of an epiphany. Like the building blocks of business have kind of fallen into place, and I'm feeling a bit dumb for not having worked it out before. But it all boils down to charging the right amount for what you do. And I think so many of us don't charge the right amount because our method of, what do we charge is we look at what our competitors are charging and then we base it on that. I don't believe it's the right way to price for your business. And I'm going to explain. So 2 weekends ago, my family and I were helping out at the Phoenix Fest. It's a weekend event run by the chaps and the team at the Phoenix magazine. Now, if you don't know it, it is useful to know a bit of context. So the Phoenix magazine, it's been running now, I think, for 8 or 9 years, maybe 10 years. And they now have 37,000 subscribers. And I was chatting to one of the owners. So you'll pay, I think, for a 6-month subscription, you'll pay £75, or for a year it's 150. And my kids are massive fans. They have been for many, many years. And the thing about it is that you get a magazine every single week. So actually, when you break it down per magazine, it's incredibly good value for what they put in it. And for the enjoyment that kids get out of it. But it's still a chunk of change. It's definitely a luxury item, it's not an essential. So they do a really great job of getting people through the door. And I think, the first point to make here is that they have an amazing product. They had a decent team, like quite a big team. And they have a lot of artists that they commission and they pay to produce all the comics and everything that go into the Phoenix magazine. And I was just kind of thinking they've got offices, they've got a lot of cost as well that they need to cover. And it made me think that, it made me think about something that Michael Gerber talks about in his book, The E-Myth, which is, I followed a lot of the advice in that book, but there's one bit of advice which I had never done until a couple of weeks ago. And that was to map out the staff you need in your business and charge the right amount. Because what I realized then, because I did this activity, was that when you map out everybody that you need in your business, you then have a very clear overhead cost for where you want to be. And when you've got a very clear overhead cost from all the stuff and infrastructure that you need, then you know, and you've got a profit goal, you then know how much revenue you need. And then you can work backwards from there. Because if you know how much total revenue you need, then you can work out how many customers you need and how much they need to pay. And that's where it gets interesting because, again, I remember thinking before, if I don't charge more, then I can just attract more people, right? So it doesn't really matter what I charge because I either charge less and get more people, or I charge more and I get fewer people, but either way it works out the same. But actually that's not true, because when you've done this exercise the right way and you know what your overheads are going to be, then if you start charging more people, if you start bringing in more customers, but you charge less, you need to actually get all the stuff out, all the products that you're selling. Typically, you will need more people. You'll need a bigger team. So as you get more customers, your overheads increase. In short, there is a sweet spot between the number of customers you've got and how much you charge them. And I suspect that for most of us, we're not charging enough because. And I say that because when I speak to business owners, a lot of them are getting by. They're either getting by or they're doing okay. They're not where they want to be. And sometimes they're not even sure why, because they've got a decent sized business. But in terms of the money that they take home, it's not where they want it to be. And, as I say, this penny has dropped for me now that probably they're not charging enough. And they're probably not charging enough because they don't know how much they should be charging because they're looking at the wrong things. So I strongly encourage you, if you're sort of in that boat, to do this exercise. Where do you want to be in a few years' time? What will the team need to be like in order to deliver that? And work backwards from there to work out, how many customers do I need and how much should I charge?